I'm standing here by a fire, which is a wonderful place to be when it's cold out, because you can get warmth from a fire. But warmth is not all you can do with a fire. A fire is also a good way to destroy things. And sometimes there's things that just need to be destroyed. I was reading this story recently about a young pastor by the name of Samuel Chadwick. And he was living over in England in the late 1800s, and he was trying so hard to be a good pastor. He had all this learning from books and from school, and he was pouring his heart into building sermons and trying to pastor his church, but he was frustrated because it just didn't seem like his church was going anywhere. He seemed like he was kind of dry in his own soul, and his prayer life was stale, and there were no conversions in his church, and no matter how hard he worked on his sermons and preached, it just seemed like there was no breakthrough. And so under the conviction of the Holy Spirit one day, he just piled up all his sermons that represented all his hard work, and he lit them on fire and he burned his sermons. And at the same time, the Holy Spirit fell on him, and this incredible revival started that spread and continued in his ministry for years. I was convicted by that story, and I thought, you know what? I maybe need to burn some things too. So the first thing I'm going to put in this fire is a whole file full of sermons. And these sermons represent a lot of work. They probably 15, 20 hours a piece. A lot of writing, a lot of research. And you know, these were good sermons, but this just represents kind of a stale period of my life where there was a lot more study happening than prayer happening. And so I'm going to get rid of these things. I'm just going to put them in the fire because I don't plan on preaching these sermons again. And the next thing I'm going to burn is some books. I love books, nothing wrong with books, but these books represent something. There's been times where I've been about trying to build the winning church, or figure out how to start a seeker-sensitive service, like that's going to fix everything and create a wonderful church. Or how about your church can grow? There's nothing wrong with a growing church, but what's the motives behind trying to grow a church by just following principles or techniques that worked for another church? Leading your church to growth. Here's another one. How to break growth barriers. Now again, there's nothing wrong with a growing church, but if it's all about just trying to figure out how some other church did it and how we can use techniques and principles to try to get a successful church, then there's something wrong with that. And so these books represent something to me that I need to let go of. These are going in the fire. I got some seminar binders here that are also something that I just need to let go of. I got a seminar binder here from Ed Young's church down in Dallas. And there's nothing wrong with Fellowship Church. Great church, actually. But this kind of just represents an era of trying to copy other churches and try to figure out what's working and how we can get it working. And that's going in the fire. I got another seminar binder here from the Coast to Coast Multi-Site Conference. And this was 3 cool churches. Larry Osborne from California, Dave Ferguson from Illinois, Greg Surratt from South Carolina. All great pastors. I love these guys. But you know what? Too many times in my life, I've tried to look at other churches and try to find a model that was what we should be doing so we should be successful. And I'm done with that. That's going in the fire. And here's a conference seminar manual from Willow Creek. I love Willow Creek. I love Bill Hybels. It is such a cool church, but this church has been copied too much, and there's been times in my life where I was just trying to be a copier of somebody else instead of just being unique to the DNA of what God has for our church. And so all my notes, all the extra reading and supplements and the binder, There it goes in the fire.